Hey team, welcome back. Today I have a very special guest who has just created history at the Asia Cup with the Australian Opals, and I'd like to welcome Courtney Woods. Woo!
Hi! Thanks.
Oh, Woody, I can't wait to chop it up with you today because I think you have a really interesting story into how you got to where you are, and it's perseverance, resilience, patience, which I know that's definitely not one of, my themes in my world. But I want to start off with the hot topic, obviously, is you and a gold medal. I know I got Darren, the producer, to ask you. I was like, can she show and tell the medal? But I'm sure it's safe away somewhere. But can you tell us what it was like getting that medal, getting it around your neck, holding that trophy with your Opal sisters, and knowing you had just created history as well?
Yeah, it was obviously an incredible moment. And even kind of the whole tournament, it was very surreal. And it was one of those experiences where just kind of everything was going really well. And obviously, when you're winning, everything's feeling good. And like, I honestly feel like we just felt like we could beat anyone. And then going into that last game, obviously, it was super exciting, super close. And then it ends and we win. And then you're just standing on the podium, like in your Australian jersey with like a gold medal around your neck, singing the national anthem. It was just honestly one of those moments where I was like, I'm going to tell my grandkids about this. Like, it was just such a surreal experience that, like I've said in other times, like I've watched the Opals on TV more times than I can count, sing the anthem, like winning medals. And I was just like, wow, I'm now on the other side of that. And it was just, yeah, an amazing experience. I just remember vividly being like, okay, Courtney, like, remember what this feels like. Like, this is not a common experience to like be happening.
Oh, that's so special. Actually, I have goosebumps like listening
Yeah.
to you say that. And obviously you take it all in, right? Whether you win a
Yeah.
championship or a tournament like that, it's like you said, it's a pinch me moment. Once you sort of gather all your thoughts, and then obviously it's like, hey, we're popping bottles. How did you guys celebrate?
Yeah, it was definitely a big high. Like, obviously, anytime you win a tournament, it's amazing and all girls are in the locker room. But then I think, honestly, it really set in that we had been in China for 3 weeks. We had just been eating noodles for probably the last 2 weeks. We had just played our like sixth game. Honestly, we were pretty like exhausted. So I feel like we ordered McDonald's, smashed that. It hit like 12:30 and we were like, girls, love ya, but gonna call it a night. See you in the morning.
And well, exactly. I want to go back to the start. Like you just said, you were in
Mhm.
China for 3 weeks. So you had
Yeah.
a couple of practice games as well as some trainings. And how important was that segment? Of course, you guys had the group at the Trans Tasman. That was pretty much almost the same group who went to Asia Cup. But how important do you think, that prep that you had there for you guys?
Yeah, I think it was huge. And like, I can only speak for myself, but one, I'd never even been to China. So kind of like that first couple of days, even just getting used to the country, the food, everything like that. And then we were lucky enough to play in the 2 practice games against China. And that first practice game we had, I think it was about 15,000 people. It was a completely sold out arena playing the China national team. I have never experienced anything like that in my whole life. Like, it genuinely felt like I was in like a video game and they had clicked like, it was like AI and it was like, you've selected Chinese crowd and they're all in their white t-shirts waving their Chinese flags. And just, it was the loudest, craziest, most emotional crowd. And I think we won that game by about 15. But anytime we missed a shot or China stole the ball, you just couldn't hear anything. Like, I still to this day think that is the most loud, high energy game I've ever played in my entire life. And it was a practice game. Like, it didn't even mean anything. And they were just so excited. So it was awesome to get that experience then going into Asia Cup.
And you want that, like, that's what we love to play in like when we're playing, whether it's a normal game or a finals, like playing against you guys in the WNBL, say with the Fire, it's like you love going there because the atmosphere is so great. And that is great prep as well, going into those finals games where you're like, I'm probably not going to hear the coach or the point
Yeah.
guard, like what's going on. But you, like you said, you never went to China. And then I have to laugh because looking off social media, the first place you were looked like a mix between a holiday resort and Love Island. And
Literally, yeah. And I was
were you
like,
like
this is
on?
Chinese. This is not.
It did look like though that place was a great, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
environment though for all of you to bond, hang out,
Mm-hmm.
be together. Did this help in building like really, I guess, the good chemistry? Because it looked like all of you guys just really did genuinely get along.
Yeah, no, it was really awesome. And like, I think there were two girls that joined. So Ali Wilson and Chloe Bibby joined us late as well. So I think those first couple of days was so important. Like when you go on kind of Opal's campaigns, you may get one training together, you may get two trainings. So it's not a lot of time to build that on-court chemistry. But I think the hours and hours and days you spend at the hotel is when you've got to try and build that connection and that friendship and that chemistry. And that's definitely what it was. And like every meal we spent together, we played cards, played bananagrams, everything like that. So it was really awesome because a lot of those girls I'd only ever played against and like in WBL and everything like that. So it was awesome to kind of be, okay, cool, we're on the same team. What do you like? What do you do? What's going on? So it's nice to just kind of like get to know them all on more of a personal level.
And then once you, I guess, you've had that week of prep, which it doesn't even sound like a lot, right? It's crazy. Is then you head off to the Asia Cup tournament. What is the vibe within the group and the coaches? Like, what's the atmosphere going into, okay, now we have to win games. Like, the first round is here. We got to go.
Yeah, and I think there was definitely this feeling throughout all the prep and then the start of the tournament. It's like, okay, Australia is known for winning the bronze at the Asia Cup. Like that's something they have done the last couple times they've gone to this tournament. I think there was this feeling of like, okay, like we're not coming here to win bronze. Like we're coming here to win a gold medal. And I think like we got a lot of confidence in the first practice games against China. Like we beat them once, so we're like, okay, like we can beat China. So I think going into each game, it was kind of like, okay, we're here to win a gold medal. And I think you could kind of see that down the line. And then I think when we played Korea in the semifinal, it was just this very big feeling of like, okay, like we are going to play in the grand final and we are going to win. So I think it was just like Goz did an amazing job of just building so much confidence in the group. And I think you saw that like every time any of the 12 players got on the court, like I feel like everyone contributed and everyone did a really good job. And I think that all kind of starts from the coaching staff. So it was just like honestly a really confident group and like a lot of things went our way. And yeah, but it was definitely a feeling throughout the tournament like we're here to win a gold medal.
And watching that, you could definitely tell, like, you guys dominated all the round games. Like, your closest one was Japan, where you still beat them by 12 points. Was there, obviously, you said Goz created this confident environment. Also, you could tell you girls were getting around each other, like the celebrations of everyone hitting good shots or getting steals. I
Mm-hmm.
loved it. Like, I'm all about that. So
Yeah.
it was so good. But is
Mhm.
there anything that you learned from the round games that when you went into team talks or film that you wanted to do better going into then the finals?
Yeah, I think definitely from the round games, showed that it was going to just kind of take all of us. I feel like every single game we played, we had a different, I think they called it player of the match. Like I think Steph won one, Zatina, Alex, Kayla won a game. So I feel like it was just kind of going into each game. Like it may be your night, you may play a lot of minutes, you may not play a lot of minutes, it may be someone else's night, but it was just like every single game you have to show up and be prepared to play 40 minutes. But if you play zero, if you play two, then you need to be the best you can in those 2 minutes and then be the best teammate you can the other 38. And that's really hard to do. And I feel like this team did a really great job of that. And I think that goes from 1 through 12 is like there's the players on the court, they were playing a lot of minutes. There was some that didn't play much, but there was this feeling that like everyone there wanted the best for the group and everyone there wanted the team to be successful, which is really hard to get right. But there was just this authenticity and genuine feeling of like, okay, we may have to sacrifice a bit of our own personal game, but we are all here to help Australia win a medal.
And I think it proves that you all did that, considering you did get that medal and you
Mm-hmm.
did create history. But I think you could definitely tell, like you said, on any given day, it was anyone's night. And you did that as
Mm-hmm.
a together as a collaborative process. And like you said a bit earlier, you then beat South Korea by 13 points in the semifinals. Then you're going into the grand final match where like it's all on
Mhm.
the line. It's do or die. Can you give us a bit of insight what it was like that day leading into the game, whether team or you personally, like what were just the emotions and the vibe?
Yeah, and I feel like it kind of started the night before. So I think we played South Korea and then Japan and China were playing right after. So I think we headed back to the hotel and I think there was like a feeling throughout the group that we expected to play China. And then we were all kind of sitting back at the hotel and China were down 5 and then they were down 10 and then they were down 15 and then the game was over. We're like, "Oh, okay, we're going to play Japan." So then I feel like throughout the group, there was almost this feeling, well, at least for me, I felt like it was going to be a normal basketball game. Because I felt like if we played China and we were playing against the girl that was 7'3", I just was like, that just is such, for me, I wouldn't even know how to navigate that. And like that would just be such a new experience. And like, God, what are we going to do? How are we going to manage that? But I felt like when we played Japan, it was like, okay, we've played Japan before. We've beat Japan. We know what we have to do to beat them. So I felt like there may have been a bit more like calm feeling throughout the group. And then it just came down to obviously it was just like the whole day. It's like we just can't let them get hot from three. Can't let them get hot. Can't let them get hot. And that day was kind of a bit of a mix of emotions. There was actually a typhoon that day, so we didn't even have shoot around. So it was just like, yeah, it
No
was just a
way.
crazy day. Yeah, it was just like pouring rain the whole day. I remember them saying like, "Oh, we don't even know if we're gonna play," blah blah blah. Then obviously everything worked out, and it was good. It honestly just felt like another game, like in the rounds. Like it's one of those things where you're like, "What day is it? How long we been here? Okay, we're playing Japan. Cool, let's go."
I think that's the best way entering finals. I was having a conversation with
Yeah.
someone the other day and it was like, what's your process? What are you doing? I'm like, I like to just do everything I normally do. So you go into it
Yeah.
being cool, calm and collected. But
Mhm.
when that final buzzer went and obviously I can't believe there was a typhoon. So I'm sure that like definitely added some things in the works for the coaches, especially.
Yeah.
Just yeah, what were, I guess, a few words you would describe when that final buzzer went?
Yeah, I think for me the biggest one would be relief. Like I feel like
Yeah.
that's usually what I felt when you win those big games. I feel like the pressure was on us to win as well, I think because we had beat them in the rounds and it was such a stressful game and I feel like like Japan got up late in the fourth quarter and it was back and forth and then it was over and then it was just this massive sense of relief and then obviously just absolute pride. And I feel like that winning championships and winning tournaments, it's such a unifying experience. Like from like the starting point guard to the manager to the strength coach to the physio to the doctor, it's like everyone is involved
Mhm.
in that. Everyone feels joy, everyone feels a
Yep.
part of it. So it was just such this collaborative effort and success and I think just feeling throughout the entire group. So yeah, it was absolutely awesome.
So you personally had a very consistent tournament and campaign yourself. You were averaging almost 8 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 3 assists. And you just mentioned like how much pride you had. What did it feel like going into your first major tournament as an opal, winning a gold, representing your family on the back of your jersey as well? What did that mean to you?
Yeah, it was amazing. And I think like you said, I feel like kind of as competitors and throughout your whole career, well, at least for me, I've always just been battling a lot of kind of like the inner demons and all of that fun stuff. But I feel like for this tournament going, I just even thought like if I go here and I don't make a shot the entire tournament and I do terrible, whatever, I was like, this will still be such an amazing honor and experience. And I'm just so happy to be here. And so I think kind of going into it, I had absolutely no expectations. I had no expectations to perform well for court time. And I think that is kind of when you almost find yourself playing like a little bit more confidently and a bit more freely. So it was awesome. I think anytime that I got put in the game, I was just like really happy to be there and really happy to be a part of it. And I really like the kind of style of play that God's created for them. And it was awesome being playing with Steph Reed and Satina Kuso and Alex Fowler and Abby Ellis and just players I really love playing with. So yeah, I absolutely enjoyed the experience, and I think it was made even better just like being kind of back with like my old friends.
And then how was it coming back home and being able to celebrate this success with your partner and your family
Mm.
and your doggos as well that are there with you
Yeah,
now?
yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, and I think it's just so different to anything else because I feel like when you play for Australia, you play for the Opals. I feel like everyone from the time you were 6 years old to now, anyone that was remotely involved into your basketball career is watching. It's like my parents had so many people messaging them. I had so many people commenting on like everything, just people I haven't talked to in 15 years. They're like, oh, I knew you when you were 7 at Sutherland. Like, we watched your game. It was awesome. So it was just such a kind of collative experience of like from the time I was like 5 years old playing basketball to now being 28 years old, just a celebration, I feel like, of everyone that was a part of that journey.
And obviously you've just done this, which is super incredible. And it's still fresh and like the start of your Opals journey. Do you have any goals or ambitions that you want to do with the Opals moving forward now?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of a big part of like being a part of the program is you're always trying to make the next team. And for me, that definitely is stressful and like a definitely new aspect of my life. But I feel like the only way you can kind of navigate that is just kind of taking it one day at a time. And I think for now, you kind of like turn your attention to like the WNBL preseason, which I absolutely love Townsville. I'm really excited to get back there. So kind of just focusing on having a great preseason, trying to get in shape, trying to survive that. So that's kind of like the next thing on the radar. But yeah, obviously would love to be continue to be a part of the program, however that looks like.
And you could have let it better yourself, but in other news, you have signed a contract extension with the Townsville Fire until the end of the 2026-27 season. And for those who don't know or haven't been a Fire fan there, your whole career, that's where you've been since you entered the WNBL is at the Townsville Fire, and that's since 2020. And I think for me, this is why I said earlier, you're the definition of just like the patience and hard work and your time to come because you're at the Fire when, you were coming off the bench, and you probably could have started at another team. Then it came, a couple of seasons ago where you had the opportunity to start. And then last season, you made All-Star 5, the first team, and you've also won a championship with the Townsville Fire, but it was like almost this like momentum change, and now you're getting your moment and it's your time to shine. So can you tell us a bit
Mm-hmm.
about maybe your journey from like
Yeah.
2020 to now?
Yeah, I know for sure. And that's something like I really like talking about because I feel like when I first came into the league, I just thought everyone had just found success. Like it just happened. And I was looking at all these players and like Lauren Nicholson, I wanted to be just like her. And I thought like, okay, if I work really hard for 3 months, like that will happen. And I was like, okay. So then my first season happened. I didn't play much at all. My second season happened. I didn't play much at all. And I think it was kind of the end of the third season where we won the championship. And I was like, okay, like I'm getting into my mid 20s. I've been working at this for 3 years. Maybe this isn't going to happen for me. And it was this really huge moment of being like sitting myself down and like even just thinking of the numbers. I was like, because all I wanted was to play. Like the Opals weren't even on my radar. Like all I wanted was to get on the court and play for the Townsville Fire. And it was honestly this huge moment where I like, after my third season, where I was like, hey, Courtney, maybe this isn't going to happen for you. Like maybe your career isn't going to look like that. Maybe you're going to be a role player for your entire career. And I feel like I did a lot of sports psych in that 6 months after the off season. I talked to David Stiff, who works for the Players Association, and I kind of just unpacked all of these unhealthy relationships I had made between like playing court time with like my self-worth. And then I kind of, as soon as I separated those two things, and I actually kind of started to like get back to like why I actually played basketball and why I loved it and like let go of all those expectations, is when things started to happen and started to change. And saying that, in my fourth season, it's when we signed Sammy Whitcomb, we signed Alice Kunich, there were still so many things that were just based off chance and based off like just like sporadic events. Like Alice got hurt, I think, in our sixth game. And if that hadn't have happened, I would have come off the bench that entire season. So it's almost like it's years and years of preparation mixed with chance that like all come together at the right time. And then like this massive opportunity just kind of presented itself. And I still firmly believe that like I could have done all of that hard work. And if those opportunities hadn't have come up, then like I wouldn't be kind of where I am now. And I feel like when you started at the bottom and when I was at the bottom for so long, I feel like I am just forever humbled. I just feel like once you felt like that and once you felt like you weren't good enough, I just feel like that stays with you. And I think that's still such a huge part of my personality and such a huge part of my career. And I think that's why I lean into these experiences so much. And like everything that has happened now to me is almost just crazy. And like when you say it like that, it's like you just played for the Opals, you just did this. Like I did not expect any of this to happen. So the fact that it has, I'm just like still in awe of all of it, and then just trying to obviously just enjoy it as much as I can.
And that's why I love having, these beautiful, not only athletes, but people on the show to talk about the stories. Because I think any athlete or also just the younger generation who are coming through need to understand that everyone's journey is different. Don't
Mm,
compare yourself to others. Like the biggest thing in your road is you. And like you can only control what you can. And that is how hard you work. That is the sort of teammate you want to be. And that's why I really love having you on and you chatting about this and opening up, because you are a prime example of like, never give up, keep working, and like your time will come and you'll be able to shine and enjoy these things. So like, thank you for sharing like that part of your story, because I think
mhm.
so many people will be able to relate to it.
Yeah, and I think even kind of like you said, the comparing to others, is that I feel like for a long time as well, I thought that like I play a little bit funky and I play a little bit slower. And for a really long time I was like, opals don't play like that. Like I don't play how I think an opal would play. And I think and like I was comparing myself to other people. I was like, okay, my body doesn't look like them, like my game doesn't look like them. I'm not as fast, I'm not as strong. And I feel like it's so hard to do, but as soon as you do, just try to like release that and then just be like, okay, like I'm just going to be like the best version of myself I can be, is when life just gets a little bit quieter and just like a little bit easier. And I feel like it's really hard to do. And I didn't do it until I was like 26, 27 years old. But that's something I would really try and encourage. And I wish I could have figured that out at 15. But yeah, it's a long road to get there. But yeah, definitely getting there.
Honestly, isn't it a long road, still like over 30 and you're learning stuff? You're like, oh, wish I knew that when I was, probably
Yeah,
could have put it to
that would have been great to
some
know.
use. But last season, obviously, you guys just fell short against the Bendigo Spirit. And I think, like many of you mentioned from your team, or people probably didn't think we'd be in that position. But I love how the
Mhm.
Fire always play. Coach Shannon is great. Um, what's it like now going into this season? You've kept a fair few of your core majority plays, which I think is like so beneficial and crucial going into next season.
Mhm.
Uh, what's the vibe going into this next season, knowing, oh, like we were so close, we just came short and
Yeah.
we've got a similar group.
Yeah, I think anytime you can return multiple players, I think we're returning 6 this year, which is really awesome. And then the basketball side of that's amazing. I'm so excited to play with them again. But also it's just so nice to be like, okay, like my 5 friends are coming back. So that part's really awesome. I think it removes a bit of like the stress and nerves of preseason. But I feel like I think Townsville Fire is synonymous with kind of like hard work and grit and grind and that kind of aspect. So I feel like kind of coming into this season, I feel like we know the reason that we made it to the grand final and a lot of people didn't think we would is because we were training 2.5 hours every day. It's because we were working out. It's because we were putting in extra shots. It's because we were doing so much. And so I feel like there's that feeling again of being like, okay, if we want that to happen again this year, then we need to do that and more. So I think it's just kind of like anytime I go into preseason, I'm just bracing myself, bracing the body, getting the knees ready, getting ready for a strenuous stretch of work. But it's exciting. I think anytime going into a new season, you don't know what could happen. But yeah, I think we're definitely going into it, getting ready to run up and down a bit.
So, amen. Recovery is key, right?
Yes.
But
recovery and warm up.
Yeah, activating for an hour. But you have that championship experience when you won with the Fire in 2023, and I remember because it was against me and still kills me. But you're also like now a leader of your team. Do you take that experience and just really help, I guess? I think you're definitely a person who you're like, it's not just on me to lead this team, but you do have that experience. How are you going into this season, like with your leadership?
Yeah, and I think last year was kind of the first year I'd kind of officially had that kind of experience. And leadership's weird, and I think it's different to everyone. And I think it takes a while to figure out kind of what that looks like for you. But I feel like for me, what I'm most comfortable with is just kind of investing in relationships with my teammates, which I do naturally anyway. But I feel like just really being that person, just like checking in and just trying to help and just seeing where everyone's at. And I feel like because I've had the experience of I've gotten DNPs and I've gotten 40 minutes a game and absolutely everything in between is that I can empathize with every person no matter what situation they're in. I can empathize if you're upset you're not getting court time. I can empathize with you if you're playing a lot but you're not playing how you want to. So I feel like just providing that support and being that extra voice and just having someone to check in on everyone and just trying to help everyone individually as much as you can so then we can kind of come together as collective. And then I feel like just kind of providing that like Townsville Fire experience where it's just like we're all here, we're all going to get along, we're all going to work super hard and we're going to try and win lots of basketball games. So trying to just continue that legacy while I'm still there.
Yeah. And like you said, you've gone from one end of the spectrum to the other, from DMPs to 40 minutes. And last season, I mentioned a bit earlier, is like you got that All-Star 5 honors for the first time. And, your production on court was, career highs all over. What did it mean? I know basketball is a team game, but knowing like you had worked so hard, what did it feel like receiving that honor?
Yeah, I feel like when you kind of win awards like that, you do just kind of take a second to be like, wow, like I remember years ago when I would sit at like the awards night and I would watch people win that award and I would just be like, oh my God, like they're incredible. I wish I could be kind of like them. So it is like quite a surreal experience, but it was honestly just a really enjoyable team to play on. And I think something about last year really helped me, as I think Shannon probably talked to me maybe a quarter of the way through the season. He was like, hey, like I feel like you could be a really good passer if you wanted to. And that had never even crossed my mind. I was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I just want to get buckets, And then we just kind of watched like so much film and just like, I think that kind of changed a lot of my game when I realized like, okay, like I can expand kind of a whole like another 50% of basketball by just being a much better distributor. So I honestly really enjoyed kind of expanding that aspect and that made it all like super fun, obviously getting my teammates involved. But yeah, it was a really awesome season. Obviously a lot went right for us towards the end. But I think everyone in our season kind of had a career year, which I feel like obviously when that happens, a lot of fingers get pointed at the coach. So like obviously a lot of credit to Shannon and what he does there. But yeah, it was really awesome.
And, you said you added that to your game last season. What are some of your goals
Mhm,
personally and obviously as a team going into this upcoming WNBL season?
mhm. Yeah, I feel like kind of going into any season, it's kind of like the big two for me are just enjoyment and development. So I feel like anytime that's kind of at like the forefront of your preseason or at the forefront of your team, you end up kind of translating into winning basketball games. So especially as you get into like I'm in my late 20s, I've played a lot of basketball in my life. Like I just want to enjoy it. Like I want to show up every day and work really hard with my teammates and then go get a nice latte after and then go to recovery. Like I feel like you just kind of realize at some point that you're living the absolute dream. So I feel like that's obviously huge. And then obviously just continuing to kind of grow my game, like add different aspects and like feel like everyone at the Fire is kind of like that. So that's probably the two big main pillars.
And to finish up, I always love to ask my guests, I want them to give a bit of advice or words of wisdom. And to be honest, I'm not going to lie, you've given like a list. People should open up the notebook for this one. But is there anything you'd like to give the viewers to, yeah, anything, just advice you want them to, I guess, go sit and think with and something that could help improve their game or just daily life?
Yeah, well, I feel like something I want to mention what I think was just like I feel like Alex Fowler winning MVP of the Asia Cup is such a testament to like it's okay and it's cool to be like a workhorse. Like I feel like Alex winning that was just the glorification of it. It's just like you can go out there and you can get offensive rebounds and be the best defender and you can only take good shots, be a great cutter, a great teammate, and you're going to win this like huge international award. So I think for me, that was honestly even just inspiring to me to be like, okay, you don't have to go out there and get 25 every night. Like you just have to be like the absolute best version of yourself, which Alex Fowler has done for absolute years. But I feel like that's something I would just try and continue to like. I tell everyone that will listen that is that you don't have to be anything but yourself. So say your game doesn't look like other people's, that's okay. That doesn't mean you don't impact winning and it doesn't mean you can't have an illustrious career. So I feel like just kind of like leaning into that, leaning into yourself. So yeah, maybe the Alex Fowler effect can catch on.
Oh, no, I love that, and I think I couldn't
Mm.
actually agree more with what you're saying. But I just want to say thank you so much for opening up, sharing us your story. I think it's so many people are going to take a lot away from this conversation. But obviously, big congratulations on the Asia Cup, and also very best of luck to you and the Fire in the upcoming WNBL. Make sure fans you go watch Woody. But
Yeah.
thanks, Woody.
No worries. Thank you.
And for the rest of you team, make sure you tune in next week as we chat all things basketball around the globe. It's a Cole World.